Hey there! Thank you so much for watching. I'm Christiana, and this channel is The Well-Behaved Wallet. In today's video, I'm going to be mentioning just a few of the many financial mistakes I've made throughout the years, but more importantly, I'm going to be shouting out the incredible wealth of wisdom I've received from the comments on this channel. I believe that wisdom is multiplied and that by sharing what we've learned with one another, we can all become better and more educated human beings. If you notice me looking off to the sides, it's totally because I'm reading my notes. I wanted to make sure to get this right. But before we get started, I ask you to do me a huge favor and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the results in the YouTube algorithm, as well as lifting the general financial topics of financial education, financial literacy, and financial independence. Ultimately, the more people know about these kinds of things, the better off we're all gonna be. So the topic for this week's video came about from last week's video, which if you haven't seen it yet, I will link somewhere up here. But if you haven't watched it yet, you might not want to watch it just yet. You might want to finish watching this video and then check it out if you're still so inclined. And I'll tell you why. So in last week's video, I spoke about my calculations for approximately how long I thought it would take me to reach financial independence. I shared my spreadsheet that I'd created with the amounts for amount that I already had saved, my yearly spending rate, my yearly savings rate, and then I adjusted for what I thought was a safe average withdrawal rate, which is usually around 4%. So I noticed that the length of years that it was going to take seemed a little bit long, and I was like, okay. I just thought that that was the amount of time it would take, and I would need to save more, so I kind of played around with the numbers and increased the amount that I was putting into savings, and I was like, well, I guess that's how long it would take, and I double-checked my calculations to make sure that everything was right before I shared my calculations. So while my numbers may have been correct, I started to notice from wisdom people were leaving in the comments that I had left out a very important element, and that was a factor of compound interest. Really, I can't believe that I did this because compound interest is such a wonderful and powerful thing. I feel like an idiot for leaving that out. Albert Einstein was reported to have said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it, and he who doesn't pays it. And prior to this point, I guess I was the one who was paying it. I was paying it, but now no more, no more, because I am committed to understanding it and passing that information on to you so that you don't make the same mistake. Okay, so what is compound interest? So officially, compound interest is the addition of interest to the principal sum of a deposit. It's the result of reinvesting interest rather than paying it out. So the interest in the next period is then earned on both the principal sum plus the previously accumulated interest. Here's an illustration. Let's say you take $1,000 and put it into a savings account at 5% interest. So at the end of 1 year, you now have $1,000 plus $50 in interest, so that's $1,050. If you keep that up at the same rate, in 10 years at 5% interest, you'll have $1,000 and $500 in interest. So that's $1,500. Not bad. It's a 50% increase. So what compound interest does is it takes that additional 5% interest that you're earning each year and it reinvests that interest into the original deposit amount. So in the first year, you're still earning that $50 in interest, but in the second year, that interest of $50 is added to the original principal amount. So in year 2, you're earning 5% on $1,050, which is $5,250. Now your total is $1,102.50. In year 3, you earn 5% on that new amount, which is $5,513. And if we fast forward to the 10-year mark, you'll have a total of $1,628.88. This diagram really illustrates the concept well. I think you have your original initial deposit of $1,000, and then you have the compounded interest that you earned from your first year, that $50, added onto the total amount. Then you have that total interest from year 2 added onto the amount for year 3, the total interest for year 3 added onto the amount, and so on and so forth until you're in year 10, you're looking at your grand total of $1,628.89. So while an extra $600 over 10 years might not seem like a whole lot, imagine adding in an additional yearly amount and then adding the compound interest to that amount on top of it. That's where it really starts to get interesting. So check out this compound interest calculator from moneychimp.com, and I'll use the same values that I used in my video from last week. If we have a current principal amount of $14,000, and we add an extra $10,000 a year to that amount, And let's say we give it 10 years to mature with an interest rate of approximately 4%. We compound the interest one time annually, and we make additions at the start of each compounding period. Now let's hit calculate and see where we are. We're at 145,586.93. Now that's opposed to the $114,000 that we would have without the addition of compound interest. So that's an extra $30,000. Compound interest is a fascinating subject and is a huge component of saving for financial independence. But that said, this video isn't so much about compound interest as it is about being willing to learn from the wisdom that other people share with you. In particular, this is about me saying that last week's video was incomplete. Someone even suggested that it was misleading and should be taken down, which I considered doing for a little bit because I was embarrassed that I had made such an obvious mistake. So ultimately I decided to leave it up and make this video as a companion to last week's video, and I will put a link in last week's video that will send you straight to this video to let you know that number one, I'm so thankful that people had pointed this out, and shout out to Jay Wills, who was the first person in the comments to let me know that I had left out that huge, amazing, wonderful factor of compound interest, and also to say that I am so humbled and grateful to learn from the wisdom that you share with me. I also want to shout out Anthony Frame. His YouTube channel is A Frame of Mind, who took the time to create his own spreadsheet and share that with me, and that spreadsheet does include compound interest. I will also as well leave links in the description box below to a bunch of other wonderful calculators that are out there on the internet to help you determine, including the factor of compound interest, what your potential financial independence date will be. But again, the point of this video is to emphasize the need and importance of humility in this financial journey if you want to be successful. And I'm doing that by highlighting the financial mistakes that I have made. I've made a lot of them just off the top. I mean, I've run up credit cards, I've financed a car I couldn't afford, I've missed payments. That's bad. Don't do that. But I'll tell you about probably my very first financial mistake that I made as like an adult, an 18-year-old, out in college, on my own. I, of course, got that credit card that they hand you when you register, which is a terrible thing. But I thought I was being all responsible, and I was getting ready to pay on time, and I'd written out checks for, I think I had like a mailbox or something that I was renting, and I had my credit card payment, and I wrote out that check, I put it in the envelope, I put the stamp on with plenty of time. I think I left like 2 weeks. I was paying it 2 weeks early, and I was all proud of myself. Then I went and I checked my ATM balance, and I was like, wow, I have a lot more money in there than I thought I would have. So I took it out, and I went out and I had myself a good old time. I went and I treated myself and some friends to dinner, and I probably bought something from the campus store that I didn't need. And then you're probably seeing where this is going, because 2 weeks later, the money that I had already written the check for was withdrawn, and I overdraft. So, and I didn't even, I was shocked because I hadn't accounted in the fact that, hey, I just wrote that check, the money hasn't been withdrawn yet. I was 18 and it was a dumb thing to do. It was just lack of awareness. And again, I feel like humility is key, and learning from your mistakes is also key. So I'm sharing this with you to say that we've all done some really, really stupid things with finances. And if you watched this far, thank you so much. And if you really want to help this channel out, leave me a comment down below and let me know either the stupidest thing you've ever done with money or the best advice that anyone has ever given you. I also want to do a few shout outs to some really amazing people who have commented on my channel and supported me from the very beginning. I've been doing this for 5 years, and some of these people have been with me from day one. Yolanda Melky is awesome, and I just want to say a big thank you and hello to her for her support. Susan Twilley is incredible, and Melody V is an amazing force in the financial, in the FIRE world. And I apologize if I'm getting this name wrong. It's Nygaya Lai, L-Y. It's Nygaya, N-Y-G-H-I-A. She left a really encouraging comment about how she started saving for FIRE in her late 30s, and I think she's on her way there. So thank you so much to those people for leaving amazing and supportive comments. And I also want to say a huge thank you to Sandra Tirado. I don't know if she's still watching, but if she is, Sandra, you brought hope and joy to my life back in February of 2019. I was in a pretty dark place and you were just incredible there, and I want to say a public thank you to you. So again, I am shouting out the comments and trying to send all the love I can to the people who have left amazing comments. I hope that one of those people in this video will be you, and stay tuned because I really enjoy doing this and thanking the people who've commented on this channel, and I want to do this in the future. So thank you again, and thank you for watching, and I hope you'll keep watching. Bye.